What if West Virginia went 6-0? Could the Mountaineers crash the AP top 12 and put themselves into playoff conversation and consideration? I'm joined today by Payton from Rankings Right Now to map out the Mountaineers' undefeated climb. I'm your professor, the WildUte, and today we've got a fun one on the docket. I'm here with my adjunct professor, Payton from Rankings Right Now, and we are going to preview and go over the West Virginia football schedule. What if Rich Rod gets it done, goes on a win streak, and goes freaking 6-0 with the schedule that you're seeing right here? We've got the rankings guru with us right now. How's it going, Payton?
Good, real good. This is a fun one. We at Rankings Right Now only focus on rankings. We don't care about who wins. We don't care about who loses. We're just here to try and figure out what the AP poll is actually going to vote in these scenarios when you have a crazy run like a 6-0, when you have head-to-head matchups that are of top 5 opponents. Where will teams end up? And one of the interesting things is it's not about what your schedule looks like, but it's about the entire ecosystem, right? You could win big, but if the people in front of you also wins, you're not going to be able to move up in the rankings. So there's so much to really digest. And we ran 1,000 simulations of this season up through week 6 to try and get a feel of what should we expect out of this.
Absolutely. And so we're going to go game by game, have a brief discussion about the analytics with each game. And then we're going to go through the hypothetical. If the Mountaineers go freaking 6-0, what will their AP ranking look like? This is going to be a treat. So starting out game 1, West Virginia, Mountaineer Field, Robert Morris. I had to imagine that Rich Rod blows Robert Morris out, and the analytics say that at the moment.
ESPN is giving them a 99% chance of winning this game. I might even give them a little bit more, to be honest. I don't know why they're sliding them only to 99, but it seems like this should be a no-brainer for everybody.
Absolutely. West Virginia is 1-0. Rich Rod, the era returns. Fans are feeling good, but a weird game. I can't believe that West Virginia scheduled this game at Ohio Bobcats. Kind of a sneaky, tough one. I think the analytics are going to like West Virginia a lot in it still. But what do they say, Payton, for this game?
According to ESPN, they have a 64% chance of winning this game as of right now. I can kind of see that going there. Like you said, kind of a strange environment. Thankfully, it's not like freezing at that point in Ohio, so they won't have that much to deal with. But it is kind of a nice little boost if you can have a nice road win early in the year against a mid opponent. I think we can agree on. They're not at the bottom of the barrel, but definitely not a top powerhouse. So I think at the end of the day, this only works in West Virginia's favor if they're trying to start to break into those top 25, top 10, top rankings. I think they need this win right here.
They have to have it. And in this hypothetical, they do have it. They're 2-0, and they're going into the backyard freaking brawl at home. Pitt Panthers. It's got to be a 50-50 game based on the analytics. You're at home. It's a toss-up.
Always one of my favorite ones to watch, for sure. Yes. West Virginia is actually favored 56% chance in this matchup. But as we all know, we've seen this game for years. You never know what's going to happen in this game. So if they can come out and hopefully dodge a crazy back and forth game that it always tends to be, and they can really come out and with a good pounding, I think that they can really make a big statement and make some jumps up in the rankings, even if it's not into the top 25 at this point, but enough to get on a national radar and get some AP votes going their way.
Yeah, I think so too. You're 3-0 in this hypothetical. You're receiving votes. You might be cracking the top 25. We're going to find out after they go 6-0 here what they would be ranked. But hey, things are going really well in Morgantown. And then a really tough game. You've got going to Kansas. We just saw how good Kansas looks this year. Jayhawks at home, new stadium. This is going to be a tough one. What do the analytics say?
This is the first game that West Virginia would not be favored and not be favored by a lot. According to ESPN, who loves KU, the more that I've looked at them, KU has an 80% chance of winning this game. So really tough on the road. I can kind of see it coming after such. This might be one of those letdown games, even though KU has been playing really well the last couple of years. I think so much hype is going into that Pitt game that this is kind of where you have that letdown. Even if you win that big rivalry game, that you're not paying nearly enough attention to the Jayhawks, and you're also on the road. That's also going to make it a different environment. Even if we don't think that KU has the craziest football fans you've ever heard of and they're a basketball school, this is still a really tough game to win.
80% shot of KU winning this football game. Hey, it's not happening right now. The Mountaineers get the dub, 4-0. Oh, my goodness gracious. I just have to imagine right now they're cracking the top 25 and going into a big-time game. The Utah Utes, my Utes, going out to Morgantown for the first time ever and playing the Mountaineers. What do the analytics say about the Utes traveling to West Virginia in this
The
one?
analytics are giving Utah not the advantage all going into Morgantown for this time. So it is a 50.9% chance favor in West Virginia. So this is going to be one of those coin flip games. I could see this being especially if they were going 4-0 at this point, this could be a classic Big 12. What in the world is going on? What are we watching type of game? I think that this would be one of those ones that would really put them officially on the radar, and everyone would be pointing at the back-to-back Utah schools that they have to go after going into that next game against BYU.
I'll tell you what, from like the Utes perspective, there's a lot of people in Utah communities think that this is a tricky game for Utah. You're traveling right after Texas Tech, going out to Morgantown. And so it's going to be a tough one. It's a toss-up game. And this hypothetical, West Virginia gets another dub, and they're 5-0 and traveling on a Friday night, short week, out to Provo, Lavelle Edwards Stadium. The 10 ranking you see next to BYU, actually BYU is 26th in the rankings right now. So just omit that. BYU is a tough opponent, especially at home, one of the best home field advantages in the Big 12 Conference. I have to imagine on a short week that BYU is going to be pretty favored here. This one.
Of course, not only on a short week, but a 10:30 Eastern or 10:30 Eastern game, 8:30 Mountain Time. That is just everything is uncomfortable about that game if you are West Virginia. So according to the analytics and the good old folk people at ESPN, there is an 81% chance that BYU wins this game. And I can totally see it, right? This is by far the toughest opponent. And that's saying a lot because they have a couple of other tough games within the schedule. So they would need to be on their A game, and you would probably need one of that magical Big 12, someone shanks a crazy punt, there's crazy wind blowing field goals. You're going to need to have a ball or two roll in your direction in order to come out with a win on this one. So they are complete underdogs. They're going to need everything to go right. They're going to need some things to go wrong for BYU. I would see that if they were to win this game, there would be no question that someone would have to pay attention to them, and they are going to be a real contender at this point.
Absolutely. So you would be going into this game at 5-0 and shocking the BYU Cougars at a 10:30 Eastern time start. The body clock's messed up. Holy cow, that game's a wild game. The Big 12 didn't do the Mountaineers any favors with that one. But in this hypothetical, West Virginia gets the W, and they're freaking 6-0. And Rich Rod is back, baby. And what – now that we've gone through all this, what do the analytics say about the true ranking, the AP ranking at a 6-0 for West Virginia, Payton?
If we're thinking about a unranked West Virginia who has had up and downs over the last couple of years, there's really no understanding of where they are in the rankings, right? They didn't receive any AP votes at the beginning of the year. So are they in the 40s and the 50s and the 60s? The only real way that they're going to break their way in is to have a full 6-0 slate at the top of the year. So in this scenario, they're not above 15 in any given scenario. And that's typically because you have a lot of SEC and Big Ten schools that are owning a lot of that real estate up top. But if we look at the 15 to 20 range, we are looking at a 13% chance that West Virginia would be in there. I think that's reasonable looking at what their schedule is. They're not playing even though you have Utah and BYU at 26 and 27 in the AP vote at the preseason, they're still not ranked. So if Utah or BYU fumbles up a little bit and now you're going and you're winning each of these games, but you're only beating a 2-win Utah team or a 2-win BYU team if they don't get off to a good start, it's really hard to look at their resume and say, oh, you're definitely much better than a lot of the others of the top 25 traditional schools that we typically see for the AP. So right now, what we're really starting to look at is that 25 to 21 range. And there's a 54% chance that they're going to be in that range right there. That makes sense to me. And I think that sets them up really well. You have a 50% chance of being at least in the top 25, or I should say, let me re-add that. You have a 67% chance of being ranked in the top 25. I think teams would, or West Virginia would be more than happy to hear that that would be the case.
And number one, Payton.
I know we want number one, but there's no room up top. But I think that actually gives a lot of room to say, give us a resume booster game for that second half. And now you're starting to look into some real top 15, top 10 potential. Once you start to get that momentum going, we definitely know that there's going to be tougher games down the road on that second half of the schedule. Big 12 always has the craziest of schedules. We remember that last year that even only one or two, I can't remember if it was only one or two were ranked in the top 25 by the end of the year, but that's because they're just throwing haymakers at each other all day and it's hard to keep anyone included. So I think that if West Virginia can stay on that path, and they can continue to put up those wins, you're going to look at roughly about a 20 to 21 ranking after this setup right here.
So West Virginia, you want KU to win games and be ranked. You want Utah to be ranked, and you want BYU to be ranked as high as possible because that's going to help the model and help push you higher in the rankings to make you a higher ranked team. If
we look at the analytics and how historically they voted, which is what our models are trained on, historical voting patterns, they look for resume boosters. You have to beat the best to be included in the conversation. Winning a game against KU on a midday Saturday is not going to get the eyeballs that you need unless KU is winning those games, unless Utah is winning those games. And then everyone will be watching the BYU game regardless because those Friday night, late night games are absolutely hysterical to watch. But you need those games to get recognition. You don't want to just win against weak opponents, especially if your real concern is to be nationally recognized.
100% makes sense. 6-0 would be remarkable for West Virginia. Any final thoughts, Payton?
I think that this is very doable. I think the back-to-back Utah games are really, really tough, but you have one of them at home. The Friday night one is going to be one of those ones where you're just going to need everything to go right. But if that can happen, there's no reason why you couldn't look at any other game on the schedule and not think that a 6-0 start is not possible. So I definitely think they'll get national recognition. Obviously, after going 6-0, do I think that they're going to be in the top 10? No, but I think they're going to be in the prime position where they can continue to have one or two big games in that second half of the year and look at potential top 12 finish will get them into the college football playoff.
Good stuff. Thanks for coming on, Payton.
Thanks for having me.
That's the Undefeated Climb and the projected AP Top 25 ranking. Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe so you don't flunk the what if dream. Class is dismissed.